Yesterday I went to a lecture, a seminar, a workshop on the structure of water and biodynamic principles and anthroposophical principles in the work of Steiner, which was all kind of coalesced into a 5-hour short workshop / seminar. That was so powerful for me. It was so enlivening for me, and it made me understand that the nature of what I've been getting in regards to downloads and how to move forward from the present moment, moving forward. And my understanding of Steiner's work and anthroposophy took me to a whole new level. Because in this moment, in our movement through the simulation and through the Yuga cycle of the Dwapara cycle, as we're ascending towards the Golden Age, if you look at this situation we find ourselves in, some people talk about that we are in the same energy space as we were at the end of Atlantis, in the fall of Atlantis, which was, if you look at the Yuga cycles according to Sri Yukteswar, you'll see that the Atlantean cycle, the end of the Atlantean age, was the descending golden age in regards to his interpretations of the Yuga cycle. So if that was the descending golden age energy, and we are and for some people like Gigi Young, her work, she says that we are in the same energy as that time of Atlantis 12,500 years ago, or more than that now, pretty close to 13 to 14,000 years ago. If we are in the same energy, even though we are in an ascending Dwapara cycle, and as the wave goes down and undulates and comes up towards a new golden age, we are not in the same energy space, in my perception anyway, if we're looking at the energy as being the descending golden age and the ascending golden age. But in her perception, I dig what she says, we are in the same energy, but we are according to Sri Yukteswar, we're in the ascending, moving up towards a golden age, Dwapara cycle, and Yuga cycle, part of the Yuga, which is the Bronze Age, moving out of the Iron Age into the Bronze Age. So if we look at this energy and at this time around us in the world, unless you're living under a rock, and of course you don't watch any news, you don't watch any media, you don't listen to what anyone says, you just basically live your life in a way that's completely present and switch off all the switches in regards to world events, which is fine. And you're doing your inner work, which is also fine, which is the most important aspect of what I'm about to talk about today, which is doing the inner work, understanding and researching and studying, and then using your own discernment in regards to what works for you, what I'm about to tell you. And my perception, this is where I'm moving into, and this is my experience, and I'm not telling anyone how to live their life. It's not what I'm saying. But I am listening and hearing, and I'm passing through the information that I'm receiving from various individuals and the guidance I'm getting from spirit to move in directions and to look at information and to look at pathways, look at mystics, look at the information presented to me from various people like Steiner, like Gigi Young, who in my perception are the mystics of the 21st century and the 20th century, the real mystics, with Gurdjieff, with Casey, with the mystics that gave us the information that we can utilize in this moment, Gigi Young in this century, in this moment. Utilize this information and for the benefit of ourselves, because the work begins with us. The work begins with us. And that by doing that resonance, bringing in this energy, bringing in this attunement, bringing in this alignment, in order for us to be able to come from a place of that resonance into the field, the unified field, and get into the life stream, because people and spirit and energy are making their own choices in how do they choose to move forward from this moment. It's not about saving anybody anymore. It's about doing the work. It's about doing the work and getting yourself. You're aligning with, you choose to, aligning yourself in a way that is enabling you to make the most of the experience of becoming more in the life stream of the planetary consciousness and of the cosmic consciousness, the galactic consciousness, first cause, prime creator. I really feel that. It's now a time from what I see in regards to, I'm not blind to what's going on in the world. I see mass immigration from Africa, from other parts of the world, South America, into North America, into Australia, into New Zealand, into Western countries, into Europe, from people from Africa, from other parts of the world, Central Asia, Asia, mass migrations of young fighting age men into certain parts of the world, who are bitter, who are angry, who have no desire other than to cause chaos, and a few individuals who are following a very, very dark path, who are infiltrated, possessed, and who are following a very dark, malicious, dark magician, Belial group, if you follow the Igakasi work path, and their idea is to create chaos, absolute chaos, and through that chaos bring in order, their new world order, through the chaos, and that chaos comes in many ways, economic, migration, climate, weather warfare, war, starvation, food distribution, destruction, transport line destruction, basically the breakdown of civilization and all the systems in civilization, manufactured breakdown of all those systems in order to create more chaos and more distraction, so people don't do the work on themselves to become more attuned to their higher nature, don't bring into their bodies the higher nature. And this comes to me, this now comes to a place where yesterday when I was having in this seminar, this work seminar sort of discourse with this man from the Hawke's Bay, Ian. I can't remember his last name, but Ian's his first name. Ian's his only name, really. The last name's a legal fiction, but Ian came down and taught us about the structure of water and the work he's been doing with water, and how water is a living entity. Like everything's alive. We all know this. If you understand conscious awakening, you have your conscious awakening, you understand that everything is sentient in all creation. Water, very, very sentient. In fact, water, in his perception, is a living being with all of the organs and all of the systems that we have as men and women. But it's a very different, complex, and deep rabbit hole to go down. But water is a living being. But what he displayed yesterday, which really blew me away, which is he took us into the levels of structures of water. And then he went into some deep Steiner work and anthroposophy work. And he drew this diagram for us and showed us how Steiner's work, Steiner's study brought him to a place where he understood that the forces, the higher self, the other self, the self that we have above us, a part of us, our higher self, which is not part of our physical body, but it's the energy coming into the avatar from this higher being, part of ourselves, our true selves. It's coming down into our being and anchoring that energy into our being from the top down into our being is where we are at now in this moment. And it's our moment, our chance to do this, to bring that energy into our being, into our heart vortex, into our bodies, and then from our heart vortexes, once that being is anchored into our avatars, into the earth, that higher nature being emanating it from our heart chakras into the world, to change the world by bringing that being into our avatars from high on high, anchoring it into our being here on the earth, and becoming our high nature in our avatars, and bringing it down. And in this moment, there is, in my perception, a deep need for many of us who understand this diagram, understand the nature of what this means, to bring this energy down into our avatars, anchor it, and be our higher nature in our avatars, and therefore take that energy out into the world around us, and bring it into being. Because the amount of chaos that is coming down the pipeline for us, and eventually at some point they want to, the powers that be, the Belial group, I guess you could say, from Atlantis, who are still around on some level, and the other forces that work with the Belial group, the dark magicians that work with the Belial group, want to take us into a transhumanist path I want to sever our connection to the higher nature, sever it across from the place where it comes down into our being, and cut off our ability to bring our higher nature into our beings. So therefore stopping us from evolving into that place like we would have devolved from many millennia ago. And the work of Steiner, of Blavatsky, of Casey, of Gurdjieff talks of this nature of the cycles that we have in regards to the Yuga cycles. At some point prehistory, some point antiquity, due to the nature of these cycles, the men and women, our bodies were much lighter and a lot less dense, and therefore we were able to have that energetic body, which was once here in this density, because the nature of how less dense this frequency band was. That higher nature was our nature in this dimension, because the nature of how the dimension was. It wasn't as solid as it is now. So that higher nature was in this frequency, not the one we're living in right now, but was here. This frequency we're living in, we call existence, we call reality, was much less dense. So therefore, the higher being was existing and was here. Like I would be sitting here right now, that higher being would be sitting here, that being of light, in a lot less dense frequency. But it had to ascend up into a place above us, where it's no longer able to sink into this dense energy, but it has to use the avatar we have now in order for it to come down and be in the avatar, as a spirit would, as a higher nature would, to use the avatar as a means to exist and move around this reality. But in antiquity, if you follow the mystery school work, you understand that the nature of reality, it was at periods of time of the construct, was a lot less dense than it is now. So therefore, the being that this body's avatar was more fluid, more watery, and more light and more gaseous. And that higher nature that Steiner talks about in Anthroposophy, that higher nature would have been here in this reality, because the reality would have been less dense than it is now. But we have the opportunity in this moment, in the ascending to Upper Yuga, to bring that higher nature into this avatar, pull it down into our being, anchor it into our being, and then use our heart centers for that higher being, that higher nature, to exist in this reality. And that, for us, some of us who understand this could be for us a calling. This could be our calling. This could be our calling to get our shit together and bring that being down into our avatars, anchor it, fire that energy out of our heart chakras into the world around us, and begin to heal and begin to bring cohesion into this environment. Because as it gets chaotic, and it's going to get more and more chaotic if the powers that be have their way to create the chaos that is coming, to have their way, because they are literally getting ready to, they have put all the pieces into place for massive chaos, economic, war, starvation, food supply chains, climate, engineered climate change, and weather warfare. Also on a galactic scale, on a cosmic scale, we have a situation where, whether it's been induced or whether it's happening naturally is up for some debate with some people, but we have also, we're heading into a mini ice age as the cosmic and the galactic movements and correlations between planets, electromagnetic energy and plasma fields, Birkeland currents, there's a shift, there's a change, a natural cycle is taking place, and that's being piggybacked upon by the powers that be to create more chaos, and then they know what's coming. But this is also the opportunity of opportunities for us to get into that life stream, to bring that energy down from that higher nature into our avatars, connect with the life stream, connect with the cosmic and galactic cycles in the way that we know we can, and evolve and shift and move with it, as Steiner said, and move with it. But bring that energy in here to be able to bring a sense of calmness and solidity in the calamity that's happening around us. All the distractions that we're having around us in this moment. And there's so many distractions happening. So many. We have this beautiful opportunity to become more centered, more grounded, do the inner work, and bring in that higher nature into our avatars. In my perception, I'm not telling anyone how to live their lives, but I understand the nature of what Steiner was saying and the work of anthroposophy in this situation, which is condensed. There's so much more to look at in regards to this, but I'm doing my best to simplify, to bring that energy in, the higher self, the higher nature into our avatars, in the ascending Dwapar cycle, and bring it in and anchor it, and during the calamity, when we have this calamity and chaos happening worldwide, for us to be the anchors for this energy, to bring in some solidity, some cohesion, some coherence, and some equilibrium and unanimity. It's a terrible unanimity. I can't say the word properly. Some balance, equilibrium, and most importantly, some alignment with the life stream of the planetary consciousness, of the life stream of the Yuga cycle, the life stream of the cosmic and galactic and the first cause. God bringing that energy in to our body, into our being, and anchor it in this chaos. And that's what I got yesterday when I was sitting there in that workshop, in that space, with my heart completely open and feeling that my higher nature coming into my being, into this avatar. I could feel my heart opening and connecting in that way to everyone in that room. And I knew that what I was being told by this amazing teacher was to do the work, do the inner work, because this is our chance. As the powers that be want to sever the creation between that higher nature and our avatars, and the part of itself that's in the avatar, the tiny little spark of that higher nature which animates our avatars, the powers that be, the Belial group, the forces that work with the Belial group, they want to sever the connection between our higher nature and itself, which is in the avatar. They want to sever it through medical procedures, through transhumanism, through implants, through the use of AI, through the use of anything they possibly can to alter the DNA, the mRNA, the genetic makeup, the ability for men and women to connect to that higher nature through the severance of medical procedure, injectables, injections. We have a chance to bypass that and to bring in that energy, anchor it in this moment, and change the paradigm and shift it. And many of us, I do feel, will do this, and many will not. And the paths will begin to diversify. It's becoming pretty obvious to me, and to many others as well. But for those of us who choose to do this work, this is the work of our lifetime. This is the work of our lifetime. Thanks for watching. I truly appreciate it. Mā te wa. I'll see you again soon.